All right, fellas, welcome back to another episode of the Project Freedom Podcast. This is this is the Tech Chief channel, and gather around. We're going to talk about some amazing, awesome things tonight. I'm just kidding. What I'm going to talk about tonight really isn't that amazing or awesome, and it's also kind of a taboo subject, and a lot of people are wanting to ignore what I see as some facts in the economy, the country, dude, really just the entire world, guys, if I'm being honest, just the entire world. All right. Cody Moose in the Who's Smoke and Mirrors always has been. Cody, this man already knows. Harry, what up, dude? Good to see you. Miss you and the boys, Miami. Yeah, dude. I was thinking about you the other day because your buddies, and I don't know what relation you have with like Aries and all them, but I don't know if you know, but we're pretty much good to go on that project, man. And so they mentioned something about being Greek citizens. I didn't even know that your boys are Greek citizens, dude, but apparently they are. And then as soon as they said that, the first thing that I think of when I hear Greek person, I think of Harry. So I was thinking about you, man. You should come and visit whenever you can. Bola Stu says, yeah, he agrees. I think he's agreed with you, Cody, about the smoke and mirrors. Ari is your weightlifting partner of college, buddy? Okay, cool. Ari seems like he's a high T type of guy, if you know what I'm saying. So, as I've alluded to by reading the comments already in the live chat, yeah, everything's fake. And the title of this episode was The Economy is Fake, right? But the economy is not the only thing that's fake, guys. And believe you me, I'm sitting here in a condo in Miami, Florida, the fakest city of all cities in maybe the entire planet. Although I haven't been to Eastern Europe or Asia, so I wouldn't know what's fake over there. But as far as I know, pretty fake city, right? And that's a different topic for a different day. So I know a thing or two about fake, especially fake boobs. Just kidding. But make no mistake, guys, the economy is entirely fake, okay? And it has been for quite some time. In fact, as soon as we started doing something that's called the debasement of our currency, or really debasing our currency. If you guys don't know what debasing is, I'm sorry, don't make me explain what that means. As soon as we started essentially, guys, having the ability to print money out of thin air, and it's not just the United States, okay? It's all countries with these central banks that are, for all intents and purposes, owned by, you could consider some of the same private entities. As soon as we started doing that, everything just became fake, okay? Now, if you guys go out and look, and maybe you're someone who's in a corporate environment, maybe you work in a company with like anywhere between 500 to 5,000 people or more. I'm sure that if you look around and you look at some of the things that your coworkers are doing, and you ask yourself, if this person wasn't here, would things be more efficient or less efficient? And if we're all being honest to ourselves, and I'm like, look, I really don't mean this to disparage anybody, okay? I got to say stuff like that because people, even if you don't even know me, people are just going to take stuff that I say personally. It is how it is. But I'm sure you all have known somebody that maybe is a coworker that you just look and you're like, I don't even know what that person does for that position, and I don't even know if that position is relative. And maybe you guys have been someone who's worked a job like that before. It's not necessarily a bad thing that you have worked a job like that, or that other people work a job like that, or that jobs like that exist. Doesn't make, or at least it's not, maybe it might be a bad thing, but it doesn't make the people doing those jobs bad people, okay? It does, however, mean that the economy, which is fake, by the way, we're going to talk about that the economy is bad, all right? Now I'm going to try to break this down and explain this to you guys and give you guys some of my 2 cents on the subject, okay? If you're one of my regular listeners, I'm sure you guys have heard me before talk about in a stream or maybe a non-stream video where I said some kind of analogy along the lines of, hey, like most people in their current professional job, most people that are out there, if you were to go and ask those people when they were 8 years old, hey, what did you want to do when you're growing up for a living? It's most likely not going to be the current job that they're working, right? That is just a reality. That is just how things are. Okay. It's not inherently good. It's not inherently bad, but it is, however, just how things are. It's reality. And I think I've used this example before in one of my streams. Like when I was a little kid and my grandpa was asking me what I wanted to do when I grew up, I said the president of the United States. Do I look like a president of the United States right now wearing like a what material is this? A spandex golf shirt behind a computer at 8:30 p.m. on a Friday night talking to YouTube? No, I'm not a president. I'm most certainly not the president of the United States, that's for sure. And now, obviously, when you get older, things change. If you were to ask me, do I want to be the president of the United States right now? Fuck no. Sorry. I'd rather just start my own country at this point. But point is, guys, it's not just me. It's not just you. Most people didn't end up getting the career that they wanted when they were a kid. And first off, I could even ask, why are there careers? What is this thing called a career? Did these things that we call careers, did they exist 300, 400, 500 years ago? Did they exist? And if they did they exist to the same extent that everybody was just expected to have these careers? I don't know. Yes, we have Greek blood. Ari is base AF. Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. He's a pretty cool dude. So, guys, what is the point of what I just said? Well, I would invite you all to take a look at the screen, if you can indeed see your screen, and look at this poll that I have here, pulled up from a little place called YouPoll. Sorry, YouGov. Now, okay, I got this poll because there is a YouTuber that I watch and admire. His name is Luke Smith, and he's basically a anti-soy computer science type of guy. I don't agree with everything that he says. I think Linux is trash. Sorry, Linux people. I'm just kidding. I don't think Linux is trash, but I won't go out of my way to use Linux. He's kind of like what you would say a Linux maximalist, and the guy is also what you would say a Monero maximalist, which I'm not as well. I see some flaws in that protocol too, but not here to talk about that. I watched a video on his channel where he was talking about how the economy basically is just an illusion, right? And he brought up this poll right here. And what does it say, guys? It says 37% of British workers think their jobs are meaningless. All right, so right at the bat, you guys might not think this means anything. 37% of British workers. What if you're not one of my 15 viewers that it's in the UK? What does this matter? We're gonna get to that, okay? Just chill out. And also 37%. What the hell does 37% matter? All right. Right off the bat, guys, more than a third of people polled in this poll basically say that their job is meaningless, okay? And if we dig down into this poll, what does it say? 37% say that their job is not making meaningful contributions to the world. 50% say their job is meaningful, and then 13% say unsure. Okay, so if you're just asking me, my opinion on this is that if you're unsure if your job is meaningful or not, come on. I think you kind of know the answer, right? So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to count this as 50% of people in this poll are saying that. Now, let's take another look at this, and let's think about the other 50% that say their job is meaningful. I mean, how many people in modern society have a problem just admitting their flaws, not to others, but to themselves? How many people in modern society have? Anyway, I won't sit there and talk about that, but I would say maybe some percent out of that other 50% might also have a meaningless job. But nonetheless, we're going off the numbers that are on the poll here, right? And so for all intents and purposes, 50% of people think that they have a meaningless job. Okay. And I told you guys, yeah, it's in Britain, whatever, who cares? There's a lot of similar polls in a lot of different countries that are the numbers are very similar. Okay. So what the hell does that mean? Why is it important? Well, I mean, if you have people that are admitting, if half the people that you're talking to or polling are saying that they have a meaningless job, excuse me, meaning that they have no contribution to society whatsoever, then what does that make you think? What is the economy? Well, the economy is a lot of things, right? But when you think of like a true blue economy, you think of what? The workers, the people that are creating products, basically jobs, guys, jobs. If we take out all of like the paper markets and all of these other things and all these other different avenues of the ebbs and flows of money in the economical sector, for all intents and purposes, at its core, it's jobs, right? And if 50% of the people think their job is meaningless, then you could argue and make the conclusion that 50% of jobs in the economy are meaningless, right? Now, there's a lot of time that I could spend sitting talking about like which job is like meaningless and which job is meaningful. And regardless whether or not it's meaningless or meaningful to you, and because you could be the world's number one OnlyFans girl, and you yourself could think, hey, like my job is meaningful. There's a bunch of dudes out there who are never going to coom, and I allow all these dudes to coom, and I'm just profiting off of that. So therefore, they're doing a service to the world, and it's meaningful. And I guess some could even argue that that's meaningful, right? But I'm talking about things that are actually tangibly meaningful. Things, jobs that do something that produce a net positive in society. That when the job is said and done, society and all the world in total is 1 unit greater, okay? Not 1 unit less. So if that's the case, where half of those jobs are meaningless, half of those jobs are a total net negative on society, then, like I just said, half the economy is meaningless, fluff, filler, and made of nothing. So why does that matter? Z says people always had a craft. Blacksmith, for example. But yes, I agree. Careers are some new BS. Cody Moose does not like that, Z, and he says in all caps, how dare you say that? Yeah, they do act like yes, Patricio, the economy is fake. The Pareto distribution. Yeah. So, yes, right? But Harry, like you're correct. You're correct. But the Pareto distribution has always existed. Like you could argue, there's arguments you could say that didn't exist, but if you go back and you apply the Pareto principle to almost everything, it exists in almost everything, right? But okay, in the 1800s, 20% of people, we apply the Pareto principle, 20% of people did still a majority of the work, right? 20% of people did 80% of the work, and 80% of people did 20% of the work, right? But what did out of those 80-20, what did the other 80% do? They were like on a farm, producing crops, raising a family, being scholars and something. Like they were still doing something meaningful to contribute to society, right? They weren't carrying in HR, having people undergo like I don't even know what you people deal with in HR anymore. I'm so disconnected from that world. I'm sorry. Reconstructive training, which to me just sounds like that guy from World War II with the little tiny mustache in the middle that did the symbol where he put his hand. I won't do it on YouTube, but he put his hand high up in the air like he was pointing at something, except there wasn't a point; it was a flat. That guy, where they used to put people in these like groups. Like, have you guys ever gone camping outside in those kind of CAMPS outside and tried to educate some people? That's what that's what that's like to me. That's what I view that as. I think it's asinine. If you have to have people that that you're employees and you have to take them through like some kind of re-education, then why the fuck are they there in the first place? And why are you what? What? Sorry, Harry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there, but my point of that is, yes, that's true. The prayer principle is true, but still, it was at this point, those other people were still doing something of value at the very least, right? Even if they were like rural farmers. Right now, we don't have that. We don't even have that. Half of it's all just fake. And I'd argue it's even more than half, which it ain't good, guys. It ain't good for us now. But if things change and we change it, it most certainly can be good. And you guys primarily have the power to be the ones changing everything. You guys and me and all of us, because at the end of the day, we have this thing called free will. Yes, Patricio, the economy is F and G, indeed. The square root of an organization conducts over 50% of the productivity. Yeah. Yes. You can see that in any type of corporate like organization, or really any organization, period. It's true. Wait, I meant the Linux comment, says Cody. All right, dude. I'm sorry, Cody. I didn't mean to, okay? Listen, Aurelian grills me for the Linux thing all the time.
Why you use a heckin' Mac, bro? Just use a heckin' Linux, bro.
I'll use you guys. If somebody sets me up a Linux box that I can do everything that I can right now, and I'm never gonna have to reinstall a missing driver or have like some piece of hardware not work at an unexpected time, and you can guarantee that, I'll use it. It's basically like the same thing I'm using now.
Actually, except it doesn't have an M1 chip.
And actually, I still only have the OG M1 chip. I don't have the new Mac M1 Ultra Pro. Which, by the way, I know we're getting off topic here. The specs on the new chips, dude, they're pretty gnarly for not being made by Intel. I have to say. Charlie Chaplin? Question mark. Pareto distribution exists within these same useless jobs. Some people are hyper productive but produce net negatives. Gorada Linux. You know what software you guys all should be using? What OS? Here, you know what? I'll show you guys. I will show you guys the only one true operating system of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that is, my friends, Temple OS. If you guys are not using Temple OS, then I don't know what you're doing. You're obviously missing the mark. Temple OS, formerly J operating system, Loose Thos and Sparrow OS, I didn't even know that, is a biblical-themed, lightweight operating system designed to be the third temple prophesied in the Bible. You guys go check out, go get a word on Temple OS and the folklore behind it. If you don't know, I think you guys might find some interest reading that Wikipedia page, and then maybe going and looking at the creator of Temple OS's recorded videos. I think they're actually still on. They're still on YouTube. They are. They are indeed. Your shirt is fire. Thank you. It has a martini shaker, olives, a martini glass, a whiskey glass, some mint leaves, some cherries, some lime, a bottle of champagne, and some stuff that I don't know. Thank you. Hey, the good thing about this one, Max, is that it's like that like spandex material. So first of all, you don't have to dry it in the dryer machine. Like, you can just straight up wash it. And second of all, You can go to the pool and then the gym and then out to dinner wearing the shirt all at the same time without having to change clothes. And that, my friends, is my favorite part about this shirt. But thank you. I appreciate it. Christian Soto in the house is good evening. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Foolish Rue says, hello. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you in the house, my friend. So why does it matter if half the jobs are fake, guys? Well, it actually matters for a lot of reasons, all right? And I won't get into too much about how having these fake jobs negatively impacts the economy, because it does. Very bad. But who gives a crap about a failing economy that is obviously not going to be around forever? I would much rather give a crap about people, about humans, about individuals, because at the end of the day, well, most people are disgusting, terrible people, but at the end of the day, people still have souls, all right? Entities don't, nor do economies. So why is it bad for people if half of the people that we had just talked about are saying that they're those people that have this meaningless job and therefore half the economy is meaningless? So what happens, guys, if shit hits the fan? And I'm not saying that shit is going to hit the fan. I also might be saying that, but I'm also not saying that. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide, because at the end of the day, your belief sets and how you feel like you need to accommodate for your life based off of the past, your past, the present, and the future, that's up to you. Okay? But I'll tell you guys what. I do not think that this economy in the past, the present, or the future. So right now, last year, right now, the near future, the mid future, the distant future, I don't think it's going to be quite like it was back in the 90s when I was growing up, gentlemen. I just don't. In fact, I can already see that it's not. And I have the hindsight to go back and look at those times, like the 90s, like the mid 2000s, which actually that's when it was started to go downhill a little bit. That good time, those good times, those weren't real either. Those were fake. Those were just engineered. Why? Because the economy is fake, and we're going to continue to discuss that. But it's important because if shit hits the fan, and let's just say, I don't know, a nation or an empire just falls apart and no longer ceases to exist. God forbid, that's crazy. That would never happen. That totally never happened in all throughout the history of humanity. Ever. I mean, maybe it did, but at least this time it's going to be different, guys. This time we have technology. We can all work together. We can all have a flag with 18 different colors, including the colors yellow plus blue for me and you at the animal zoo. But guess what? I don't think it's different. I think it's the exact same. And if you're in one of those situations that you are contributing to that part of the economy, you basically this fake economy, not only are you hurting the economy, you're in the end, you're hurting the world. It might not be doing that right now. You might not be doing that intentionally. But honestly, who gives a fuck about this economy? Let's not care about hurting it. Let's care about hurting yourself, because that is what you're really doing, is you're hurting yourself. If shit hits the fan, you're going to be fucked. You really are. All right. I'm not, I'm not going to sit here and say,
You have to become a software developer.
because you don't. You can go do anything the fuck you want. But if you're working at Karen in HR, I'm sorry, you're not producing any value. In fact, you're just detracting from people's lives. And if shit hit the fan and things had to be done a completely different way, i.e., you had to do things on your own without the dependence of other people, would you be around to stand the test of time? Would you be able to make things better? I don't know. That's on you. Now, this next thing I want to talk about is, I mean, this is pretty visible after the age of like 18 when you start to see and notice these things and how like one company owns another company and all this other stuff. But what else is fake about the economy other than the jobs? Because we just talked about the jobs for what? 24 minutes, 59 seconds. Most of the jobs are fake, right? I don't have to get here on my soapbox and explain why again. A lot of companies are fake too. We have this kind of epidemic of this thing that I call the proxy entity, and then the ghost corporation. Now, what is a proxy entity? And proxy entities exist. I own several of them myself. It's a legal entity as a business that owns another business or owns it. Basically, it's just a legal piece of paper as a means of protection that you do because you're incentivized to do so and you're decentivized not to do so. Now, before we explain why this proxy entity thing is just wrong and not good and not contributing to society, I can explain to you guys why. Your paycheck can be coming from, like, you could be employed at a giant company that's a large company, okay? And the paycheck that you receive, it's coming from the name on the paycheck that you receive, if you still actually get a physical paycheck, but you'd see it on your digital statements. That comes from like some other company, and you're like, I don't even know what the fuck this company is. And happens that company just owns another company, which owns another company, which owns another company, and that's the company that's paying you as opposed to the company that you're supposedly working at. Now, why is this the case? Well, there's rules that exist, and these rules are so dumb, guys. They're so dumb and overly complicated, which, by the way, we have all these extra dumb rules that are overcomplicating things, if you ask me, in my opinion, because either we needed to create some kind of extra jobs, fake jobs to do something, or they just wanted to make sure everything was just painfully inefficient and full of red, useless tape. Now, to pick up back where I was just talking about, it's so dumb and overly complicated because all these rules, but for legal purposes, if you set things up like that, if you do things like these proxy entities, because of taxes, guys, you end up getting a huge break as opposed to not so much of a break, as you end up getting a benefit, i.e., you can pay less taxes, not because you just don't want to pay more taxes, but because you can business deduce things. And then on top of that, you are allotted certain percentages that you can save for things that you do because of the entirety of this all just being entirely too complex. And the rules, if you were to read them, too verbose. So all these things were set up to where, okay, you're going to put this law in place. Well, we're going to go around it by doing this and then this and this and this. And on top of that, guys, the government will incentivize you into doing certain things that are probably stupid in order for you to get those tax breaks. That's one way the government ends up getting people who have money and strength and willpower to do the things that they want. Guys, Light is in the wage cage and he's whining right now. So give me 1 second. I will be right back and I'm going to let him out of the wage cage. What's up, guys? I'm Josh, or as you probably know me, eLift Program, and I'm here to talk to you about Developer Direction. What is Developer Direction, you might ask? We are the ultimate IT network and training academy. Ever heard of Fight Club? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but with more computing power. We teach and give courses just like boot camps, but that's not all. We help people actually get jobs, unlike colleges, and we help people get better jobs with better. Allah. All right, Light. No more wage cage for you. So, guys, where was I at on that? The reason why these proxy entity things are not good is because, well, for all intents and purposes, a lot of the input and output of the money and income are going in and out of fake companies. The numbers are wrong, guys. Listen, if you have a corporation and that corporation itself doesn't produce any sort of value in the world, it's just a proxy entity that's existing there for tax purposes, okay? That corporation owns an LLC. That LLC pays out private contractors to do the actual input and output into the world, do the real actual productive work in society. And at the end of the day, the money is circulating through all these different areas. It's all fake. It's fake. And it is what it is because, I mean, things are set up that way for you to go and do those things that way because you're incentivized to do so. Because somebody who is in charge felt like they needed to do that. They needed to write the rules that way and make it work that way. Eli in the house says, what's up, guys? What up, Eli? Good to see you. A Bowl of Sue says, this is why I want to be DeFi/smart contract engineer. Systems need to be trustless. Okay. Not bad. It's a good thing they want to do. But DeFi is DEFI, decentralized finance. Well, I guess you could say it like DeFi, but deflation cometh. And that's true, guys. Like, look what I just talked about. We have all this fakeness coming. Although I would argue that we're basically going into a point of deflation and inflation at the same time, which doesn't make any sense. And please don't make me try to explain that. Unless you guys really want me to, then I will. But God. Jeffrey the Pid says, the rules are working. I should be able to go into any store I want. Let me spend my Borkin money. Yeah, you should. You should. Are they closing up shops down there, Jeffrey, in good old Arizona? Stagflation. Yes, Harry. That is exactly what that is stagflation. And it's probably one of the ugliest things. If you guys are, which Harry, obviously I know you are, but you guys are familiar with what stagflation is, if you've read about it a little bit, if you've like looked at some points in history where that's happened, it's a very ugly thing. It's worse than deflation and inflation because, well, it's both them at the same time. You get all the benefits. You get none of the benefits of both and all the drawbacks of all the above. So, on to the next topic, guys. Well, okay. So actually, let me touch on that proxy thing too. Employing people in these proxies, in these entities that just push paper. Okay, because that's all you're doing. And I'm guilty of this too. Like I told you guys, like, what can you do? You have to do things this way. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but you could also like pay way more in taxes than you should be if you were to just do things the right way. Or not do things the right way, just do things unlike that. But since you were all incentivized to do things that way, it's just how it is. But because of that, you're really just creating useless jobs. That's it. If on paper, that job, that entity, the people at that entity are getting money from these chain of proxies, then it's just fake numbers, guys. It's just fake numbers. That's all it is. So what about that ghost corporation thing that I was talking to you guys about? Well, there's companies out there, believe it or not, and you can go on Robinhood app or whatever that it is that you cool kids go and buy stonks on these days that have like multi-billion-dollar market cap evaluations, and they produce zero, zip, zocho, nada. They don't produce anything. Now, how does that happen? You might ask. Well, it happens quite a bit, but it happens in many different ways. But basically, because our whole financial system is also fake, which we're going to get there too, you can basically just command money out of thin air to appear on paper. And even if a company is producing absolutely nothing of value, in fact, that they're in debt and they owe money and they don't produce anything, i.e. no product, no intellectual property, nothing, then is that $3 billion market cap company really worth $3 billion? Or is that just fake money? I don't know. I know what I think I know, but you guys tell me. Yo, Josh DDs, NDD. What up, dude? Good to see you, Alex. Most places won't let me in because I'm a dog. Damn raisins. Hold up, dude. Hold up, Jeffrey. Let me I'm gonna go get something for you to help you with that. Hold on. Okay, Jeffrey. All right. I know your owner, Jeffrey. Okay. I know your owner. You need to go and tell your owner that he needs to go to usaservicedogs.com and he needs to pay, I think, like $40 and take a test to get you registered as a USA service dog so they can't kick you out anywhere. And if your owner, which Chris, owner of Jeffrey, if you're listening, if your owner just says that he needs you for maybe he has like hypoglycemia or insulin or diabetes, which would require him to have insulin, or if he just generally gets anxious sometimes when he's out in public, that he might need himself a good old service dog. And then after that, you'd be grandfathered in, just like good old Litimus Potamus over here, and you can take him wherever you want, or your owner could take you wherever you want. So he says, personally, how do you think about Web3 and how it, all caps, should be used versus how it's going to be used? Okay, man, that's a good question, dude. That is a good question. All right, let's start with the first part. Personally, what do I think about Web3 and how it should be used? I think since you're asking that question, you probably feel this. You probably think the same way as me about it, unless I'm just wrong and be ignorant, making a guess here. I think Web3 should be used in the same manner that the original United States of America, in fact, not even that, the 13 colonies, when they wrote that thing called the Declaration of Independence, should be used. I think that it should be used for freedom of speech. And in actuality, guys, what you do with your money, I would consider to be what you do with your money is a form of speech. But if we don't want to call it freedom of speech, call it freedom of financial. Man, I got to be careful with my words here. Freedom of financial. Just doesn't have to be freedom of anything. Financial sovereignty, period. Right? Because if you ask me, my personal opinion on like money, finance, like let's just talk about your net worth, whether or not it's money, like shiny yellow rocks, Bitcoin, bottles of wine, whatever the fuck it is. You had to do something to get that, right? You had to work for it, most likely, unless you're just a king famouser, then you just famoosed it. But you had to work for it. You had to give your time and life energy to acquire that. So that's your life force, dude. That's your life force. And if you're not allowed to decide what you can and can't do with your literal own life, your energy, yourself, your past energy, then that's, I don't know, that's asinine to me. And I think that essentially, I hope that made sense. I that's what I believe Web3 should be used for. I don't think, actually, I do think this, but most likely I wouldn't say this on air, but I'll say it now. Like, I don't think that you should stop bad people from doing bad things with money. At least if we're going to have some kind of like decentralized, omnipotent form of finance, like it's got to be free and open for everybody, homie. It can't just be free for you and your friends and your family. It's got to be free for you, your friends, your family, your enemies, the people you hate, people down the street. So if those people are doing bad things with it, well, that's not your concern, but it's also not their concern or other people's concern what you do with it as well. That's how I feel like Web3 should be used. And I feel like it should be used on top of that as a tool to make people's lives generally better. Like, I don't think if I wanted to go buy a car, I shouldn't have to deal all this paperwork and bullshit. I should be able to connect my wallet. And if my funds are safe, if I have the funds, I should just be able to like purchase a token to prove ownership of that car, or the same thing with a house or anything else. I don't think all these like intermediaries, like this red tape and all this stuff, like, yeah, some of that stuff you do need because you need the human element to some stuff, right? But like, man, if you go and like, if you guys go and like buy a car, all right, and let's just say the car is like, I don't know, $100,000, and you put $50,000 cash down, and you want to finance the other $50,000 because it's just what you want to do. You got to like go through all these different all this different process to finance $50,000 because they had to check this thing called your credit score. Well, what if you didn't need credit because you could just like offer up in collateral something else on top of the car, which by the way, the car is going to be collateral. There actually is a loan to value ratio in a car loan. At least on the bank side, you don't know it when you're taking the loan, but there is. If you could just do that, and mathematically speaking, like it would make no sense for the person to give you the loan not to get the loan because they could just liquidate you or margin call you. It makes no sense. Click button, boom, boom, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I hope that made sense. I know I went really far on that, but that is how I think the Web3 should be used. Okay. Now, how it's going to be used. All right. Here's how I think it's going to be used. Let me show you guys. The Tech Tribe chat, I'm going to have to use you guys right now to show this picture because I can't show this GIF anywhere else on my phone. You guys see that? That's how I think Web3 is going to end up being used, with all of us eating the bugs. Most likely, unless you guys all stop being big floppy floops and we just put our foot down and not do things that we know are inherently wrong to do. Deflation versus inflation debate sometime. Foolish Rue knows Jeffrey, apparently. Have you heard of LENS protocol? LENS? Web3 lets you write your own social media? I haven't. I have not. I'll look into that, though. Excellent. Rubs paws together. Freedom of commerce, yes. He says, I asked because I was a huge decentralization fanatic a year ago, but realized that there is a middle ground. And recently, the idea of digital IDs controlling your spending sounds like a dystopian nightmare. Okay, you were correct. Brings me back to the GIF that I was just showing you guys. Eat the bugs, right? But if that infrastructure was truly decentralized, you wouldn't be able to do that. But some people are going to get really mad when I say this right now, but God damn it, I've been saying this for like over a year now. There is only really one truly decentralized network, guys. We've seen a lot of that to be the truth in the last 6 months, but I'm willing to bet that a lot more of us are going to see that to be the truth too. And we all know which one it is. Well, there's about 2.5. There's one that's the primarily most decentralized network, but then there's about 1.5 other ones who are, for all intents and purposes, almost completely decentralized. And God, do I hope that they get there and stay there? Because if not, I'd be pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie. You're friends with Chris? Show me your channel. You're friends with Chris? No, dude, you can't be friends with Chris. I'm friends with Chris. Meh. Developer direction. Yes, it indeed truly is the only decentralized network. Hey, that's funny because it is. Hey. Dun, dun, dun. Shh, that was good. Max, that was good, dude. That was good. Which ones? Okay, so Bitcoin, obviously, because I love Bitcoin. I know a lot of you guys don't, but I love Bitcoin, right? But it is, as a fact, by measurement of the computers running the software, the most decentralized, right? On top of that, there's another one which I believe is on its way out of decentralization. But if you just change two things about it, it would be almost completely decentralized, and that's Ethereum. And I hope, Vitalik, I swear to God, dude, I read your tweets. I read your tweets not too long ago. I swear to God, dude. Just kidding, Vitalik. I love you. I hope it doesn't. I hope things with Ethereum don't end up going the way that I think it possibly could go. Because I mean, like, dude, you need Ethereum, dude. You need Ethereum to do like a lot of things. So you don't really need it, but You do if you want to be able to trust trust some kind of network when shit's hitting the fan. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes, dude. Yes. Wow. Wow. I don't have to say anything. You guys can just read the comment. I don't have to say anything.
But the emissions, the environment. Ah.
But guys, I thought if we just got EVs that, you know, everything would be more green because, like, you know, those EVs, they. Wait a second. My electric car, I have to plug it in somewhere to get an electrical charge on the battery. Now, where? I can plug it in my home. Now, where does the electricity in my home come from? Oh, that's right. It comes from nuclear and coal power. Oh. Shh. That's nonsense. That's bad speak. 25 good boy tokens have been deducted from my wallet. I am also surprised, Cody. Doesn't Bitcoin have a deflationary problem? There is no incentive to run a network after mining is done. Deflationary problem as in, like, I guess if you could argue that deflation in a quote unquote hard money is a problem, but the latter part isn't true. You don't just, the miners, when they get that block reward for the Bitcoin, they don't just get that Bitcoin from the new blocks. When you go and you pay a Bitcoin transfer fee to send from one address to another, you know that fee that you get that's like usually anywhere between like 15 to like 75 cents if you set it on high? That money just doesn't go into the thin air. Take a guess where that money goes. And from there, at that point, you know, you can piece two and two together. So they're still going to get money. They're just not going to be able to reap like block rewards. But I mean, dude, that's 140 years down the road from now. And I know it's like,
that's not my problem. That's the next generation's problem.
Except that's only so far been done in like a 30-year interval. And at this time, at least we have over 100 years for something that we can kick down the can. And, you know, by then, man, if the protocol even still exists, there will be some problem. There will be some problem to solve. So there'll be some other ship to jump to or some other kind of way to solve that, I think. But if anything, at that point, it's like, I mean, you have three options, right? Option one is you can just shoot yourself in the face. Option two is you can just eat a ham sandwich. And option three is you can also jump off a bridge. Well, shooting yourself in the face and jumping off a bridge are pretty bad options, right? At the end of the day, you might not like ham sandwiches. You might like a California club with turkey and bacon and mayo, but you just ain't got that at this time. So at anything you settle with for the ham sandwich, right? You need Solidity too, I guess, for what, Alex? Do I need Solidity for this lens protocol that you're talking about up here? I'm not sure. Jeff for the Pits comment. I can't read that. Not to mention mining the lithium for the batteries. Yeah, and on top of that, where do the batteries go when it's all said and done? Matt W in the house says, yo, I'll take that. What's up, Matt? I'll take the ham sandwich. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I would too. I don't even like ham sandwiches, but hell yeah, dude. I would take that over option A and option C, right? Shit. What are the problems with Monero? By the way, Monero was the 0.5. So there's 2.5. Monero is the 0.5. What are the problems with Monero? I was talking to a guy in our group last night about that too. A good old boy by the name of Swedgellian. Oops, I mean Aurelian. I was talking to Aurelian about this last night. The problems with Monero, I mean, there's really not a whole lot of problems with it, okay? Like, if you are a tech literate person, you can go and download a Monero wallet, you can run a Monero node. Although I'm sure by like the 5 minutes that you install it, you might be on a list somewhere. In fact, we're probably all on a list now because I said the word Monero and you said Monero in the chat. But anyway, the problem with Monero, from a economical standpoint, the problem with Monero is that there is no like hard cap on the total supply of Monero. Yeah, Monero actually has a very good monetary policy. If you're talking about from like a math perspective, like their rate of inflation is very good. It's in fact probably like what you would consider like the perfect. Well, some people would consider that Bitcoin to be the perfect rate of inflation with a cap that inevitably ends, right? Monero, the way that it's set up, it inflates at a very low amount, but enough to where if there was sustained adaptation to it, it would basically be exactly like it is now. Now, the problem with that, though, is that there is no hard cap. And on top of that, well, we know what that brings, right? There is no hard cap. Well, then people can just say, let's just make more. Not that the people are going to do that, because people that the devs now might not do that, right? But what about the devs 100 years from now? Are they going to do that? I don't know. We don't even know who they are because they aren't even born yet. They're still in their dad's ball sack somewhere, most likely, right? Oops, I said boo sack. Oh, no. But the other problem with Monero is the fact that its rate of decentralization is way less than the Bitcoin. It doesn't have this immaculate conception like Bitcoin has. Monero has people that have a lot of BDS power over there, and they could just change the policy or change the code whenever they want. You can't do that with Bitcoin. That would take like a worldwide consensus, where Monero, that would be a consensus of less than 2,000 different entities, right? Now, that's one problem, and if you don't care about that, that could not be a problem. But another problem, which I think everybody could care about, is the fact that Monero has a very bad rap and a bad reputation, okay? Bitcoin has problems with the fact that, like, if it is a base layer software, and from a software's perspective, like, you really shouldn't, if you're trying to use software to do something, you really should just be using that software, right? You shouldn't be building things on top of that software. However, welcome to 2022, where that's how everything is built. And we have these base layers, okay? As a base layer, Bitcoin's perfect, but it's entirely too complicated for a grandma to go and download software for a validator and like make a paper wallet, right? So she has to use some kind of third-party software. I would recommend Trezor, link in the description box below, by the way, or like Cash App or Coinbase, which half of these, you're not even custodying your own private keys. But anyway, that's not the problem. That's a problem. That's not the problem that I'm talking about. Because of that, yeah, Bitcoin's flawed. And Monero, you don't have to do that. Monero, you could just basically run a Monero wallet, and that's it. It's the basic Monero software, but Monero has a bad rap. We all know why it has a bad rap, right? Do you guys see any institutions or businesses, or like, do you see large amounts of volume trading that thing during like the New York Open? No. There's a reason for that, guys. Like, places have Monero banned. So if like if you don't have enough movement behind something, it's just not going to take off, especially if it has a bad reputation, you know? I know it's not bad. I think Monero is based. I think Monero is awesome, but the normies, they don't know that. And what is 99% of the world? Normies. So that's another problem. Can they be hoagies at least? Yes. The main problem is it's probably ran by an alphabet organization. Yeah. Yeah, dude, me too. Although I don't do anything wrong, so like, I'm sure that my agent, my assigned agent, is probably just sitting around bored, staring at me all the time, like this dog is doing right now. Appliance guy says, "Yo, by the way, I have heard Goose call Flying Prime Rib, and they're selling all over the place." I've heard goose called flying prime rib, and they're selling all over the place. No way. Are you serious? Is that because of the food shortages? Yo, Parrish. That's a joke, right? You're just joking about that, right? Oh my God, he's not joking about that. Oh my God. Yo, dude, what? A bolus who says, but as more Bitcoin gets lost over time, I think it will eventually just become just store value, though, since it could become too expensive. Hope I'm wrong. I mean, dude, yeah. I mean, like, dude, if I need to send somebody like payment for something, and they want me to send them crypto, I'm not fucking sending you Bitcoin, homie. Sorry, I'm sending you like USDC or like, I don't know, literally anything other than Bitcoin. It makes no sense. Even if the price goes down tomorrow or for the next 3 years, that makes no sense for me to do. Sorry. So you're right. You would consider that to be a store of value because you wouldn't do that with like what? Like I'm not gonna like, oh, like I owe you $25,000. Here's take my Rolex instead. No, dude. No. So yes, you're right. You're right. I agree with that. Too expensive to be used as a currency. Yeah, which is why gold is no longer used as a currency. The Trezor is nice to have. It's high, it's low and high quality at the same time. Yeah. Dude, the features that you have, look, first of all, Trezor is the only software company out there that I know that actually is based, which, by the way, if you guys actually do like Monero, this is probably one of the best things that you could do. But anyway, Trezor is one of the few software companies out there who have yet to accept the defilement of the World Economic Forum, which, hey, it's not them. Just kidding. It wouldn't be them. It's just some other people. Prime rib, goose, hamsters, insects. Eat the bugs, guys. Klaus's master plan. Yes, it is. You will first eat prime ribs, and you will be happy then eating insects. If it gets bad, the goose is cooked. Hey, Parrish, we should go to City Park, eat the City Park geese. The multicolored, like looks like someone threw a bunch of paint on a wall geese. I bet they're extra chewy. YouTube up flying prime rib. I mean, dude, if we were out here and we were suffering, dude, I would pound out a geese like a mallard duck, and I would eat it for sure. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, I'm assuming that if a geese is alive, there's other waterfowl alive that I'd probably much rather eat as opposed to a geese. Like I'd rather eat a wood duck. Wood ducks are actually quite succulent, if you ask me. A certain variety of geese are referred to as, quote, prime rib of the sky by Hunter. Since it tastes so good, it's a name for them. The variety migrated to Texas, I believe. Yeah, I know eating geese is like not a common thing, but I don't doubt that at all. I mean, have you guys ever seen a wood duck? They don't look like something you would eat, but they're fucking delicious. Source, I am a hunter. Yes, indeed. They're all over BR. I know, dude. They're all over LSU campus too. All like the 18 different. They're like mutant ducks. It's the ducks too. It's not just the geese and the swans too. It's the ducks. They're all over City Park. They're all over downtown. They're all over the lakefront. They're everywhere down there. They're just fucking mutants. They're like 18 different colors. Some of them have afros, like afro ducks. Have you seen that? Tell me you've seen this, Parrish. I'll show you. Show you guys all right now. The afro duck. Have you guys seen an afro duck like this? I have several times in my life. This is not a photoshopped image, guys. Maybe I'm sure some of these are, but I know this one isn't. They actually have a goddamn like poof ball at the top of their head. It's a goddamn afro duck. They're all over the place. Did you just say that you'd pound out a geese? Yes, I would. I'd pound it out like a mallard duck with a 12 gauge, with a 24 gauge. You shall eat the geese and drink the pond water. No pond water. No thanks. No, thank you. The uglier the animal looks, the better it tastes. True with fish, too. You know that ducks play for the Harlem Globetrotters. you need the haircut. Don't judge that duck's hairdo. Hey, dude, it's a great hairdo, bro. Does that duck eat fried chicken? Oh my God. You guys are terrible. You guys are terrible. Terrible. I think it's like a budding duck. It's like it's a prepubescent duck. I think it's a sign of like a prepubescent
alpha male duck. Man.
I know, dude. I know it is, Max. God damn. It's terrible. You guys are awful. You guys are awful. I'm probably going to be in trouble now. Got 25 good boy tokens been deducted from my wallet. All right, we got to get back to the topic, guys. The uses of fake jobs. All right, we talked about that. And there's also this thing, guys, this modern concept of like owing time. So to break that down real quick, instead of hiring someone off of like specific tasks that they do, like i.e. you're a software developer, you need to finish this project by this date. If you're this wagey, if you are what we call a wagey, then you're someone who is selling your time, not selling the amount of tasks that you're going to do. Even if tasks are included in the time that you're supposed to do it. Like, okay, so like it's basically like here are your tasks, okay? And you have to come in like here's the task that you need to do every single day. You have to come in at time X and leave at time Y, but you also have to finish your tasks and then you can't then you can go home. But instead that's how it is. What it should be is here's all these tasks that you're doing. If you just finish the tasks and you do a good job and it's right and done the right way, you can go home. You don't need to sit in a corner for 3 hours and
I hope that it appears that I'm doing something. I have to pretend like I'm doing something
because you're basically, man, that could get deep into that one, but it's not good. It's not good for your psyche either. So yes, almost everything about the workforce is for the most part entirely fake, guys. Now, on top of that, as well, the monetary system is fake, and we all know that. Okay, if you go back and you look at, you don't have to go back. You can go now and Google and do a little bit of research on how money is created. It most certainly doesn't make, well, it makes sense, but it most certainly doesn't seem like a good way to do things, if you ask me. Right? And on top of that, to add to that, if you have this money that you believe has no value or no use, then people's entire spending habits are going to be completely different than if we had some kind of money that people perceive to actually be valuable and have the use. They have a saying, and that it's Bitcoin reprograms your brain, and it really does. Because as soon as you have this belief that you have some kind of hard money, that you know 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line is going to be worth way more than it is now, or at the very least the exact same, and won't do the opposite and be devalued, you go from the idea or the thinking process of, I have to spend all this money that I have now because this money is useless and I need to go get things for it before those things require more money, to, I have to save as much money as possible. It rewires your brain. With the monetary system we have right now, you're not going to be wanting to save anything unless you just either want to buy something or you're like, you need some kind of like 6 months of runway, which is like one of the things that I will advocate for, to at least have 6 months of runway saved. So you can be able to think clearly when you're doing things in the world. You don't have to worry about how you're going to pay your bills. But aside from that, I mean, for the most part, I think this is about to change too, because that's how screwed the monetary policy is. It's not going to work in this way either. But for the most part, in the past 10 years, like if you haven't invested your money and you just kept it in cash, you would have been down and not up, right? And that would, again, contribute to the whole belief set that, like, okay, I have this money that's basically fake and worth nothing, and tomorrow it's going to be worth even less. So for all intents and purposes, I should spend this now. And if I need to buy something, I'm going to buy something with it now, because if not, it's going to cost more later. And if I don't want to buy something and I want to save this money, I'm going to buy an asset that I know I'm going to, quote, park my money in, as opposed to just keeping it in cash. The Jules Winfield duck. He squawks out Ezekiel 23 before he slays some fish. Ah, yes. Why not fork Monero, Henry Brand? It's the privacy aspect of it. That's why, man. Okay, so here's another thing, too. Here's another thing. We got to get serious about this one. All right, so Monero people like to say,
well, Bitcoin is only private if it's peer-to-peer because of the KYC exchanges that you buy your Bitcoin on. See, when you go to Coinbase, you got to put your name and your social security number in.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to buy Bitcoin from an exchange. If you're in the US and you're going to buy Monero from like the one exchange that's available to buy it from in the US, which is Kraken, guess what? You have to do the same thing. So, like, you have to do the same thing to buy Monero. And if not, well, yeah, you can always buy Monero peer-to-peer. But if you go back to Bitcoin, you could do the exact same thing. And then the KYC AML part is irrelevant. And then the privacy concern behind it is also relevant. So that is one reason why not fork Monero and rebrand it. Or, quote, you make yourself look busy. Yeah. You got told that today? Oh, man. I would not take kindly to that. I mean, I would definitely not have said anything, especially like, but man, as soon as someone said that to me, if someone said that to me, who's my superior, like, I would have lost respect for that person. At the very least, they could have like conveyed that in a different way. Like, you got told to look busy today. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Unless he was just trying to keep it real with you. He was like, yo, dude, hey, my boss, I know I'm your boss, but my boss, he's going to get mad. So, like, can you just look busy for like 10 seconds? How about, like, could you do something else? Could you help me with this? Could you do that? But that is exactly what I'm talking about, my friends. Like, they're trying to tell you, like, you have to look busy and twiddle your thumbs and pretend you're doing something. Even though all of your obligations for that day could have very well been met and done it the most efficient manner possible. All right, it's 9:40 p.m. on Friday night, guys. I am going to finish this single glass of wine because I've only had one glass of wine tonight. I'm going to go into my Ford Bronco and I'm going to go drive on the ocean into the water. You guys wish me good luck. I wish you guys all a great night. As always, learn to code. Learn to change your own tire. Self-custody your own crypto. Link in the description box for all the above. Developerdirection.com, techjeef.io, guabalabs.io. That is it. I'm out. See ya.